All right, welcome everyone. Today I'm going to go through a tutorial of the Merlin and eBird apps, and they actually connect with each other, so we're going to talk about that too. First of all, though, I want to mention that these apps all stem from Cornell University Lab of Ornithology. It's a really cool website that they have. It tells you a lot about birds in general, so check it out if you haven't seen it before. All right, let's get into this. The first thing you'll see when you open the app is your bird of the day. You can actually click on it and get some more information. Anywhere in the Merlin app where you see a picture of a bird, you can pretty much always click on it and it'll give you this level of detail. So at the top here, you see a picture of an adult male, but you can keep scrolling through and find pictures of what a female of that bird type looks like, immature, juvenile, as well as some variations depending on region as well. So moving down, and as you can see, we have a house finch for my area of the world today. It'll tell you as well with this bar chart here how likely the bird is for your area and for the various months of the year. And then it gives you a bit of a description as well as kind of how to differentiate between some of the other similar birds in that type. You can also listen to some recordings to help you get a better idea of the songs and the sounds of this bird. And then it shows you a range map finally. So you have where it's at year-round, migration time, breeding time, and non-breeding time. So if you found the bird, you can always click Found It, and we'll talk a little bit more about how that adds things to your list. I typically don't do the bird of the day, but it can be fun to sort of track those and see how many you can find. But the most common reason you're going to pick up the Merlin app here is to actually listen to birds and figure out what they are. And that's really especially great for the newbie birders out there who aren't really familiar with all the bird songs. I find it valuable for any skill level, honestly. I still use it quite a bit, and I've been birding for several years now. With that said, I have to put in a word of caution. It's not perfect. It does get confused, especially when there's a particularly loud and talented mockingbird nearby. I've gotten all sorts of things on here. So use it as a tool, but just be mindful of the limitations that it has. Okay, so you see the big green button in the middle. It's pretty obvious. Click that to start your sound recording. So I'm going to click on that sound button, and it's going to start recording. I'm going to see if I can pick up a couple birds right out here in my backyard to show you guys what it looks like. There we go. We got ourselves a Carolina wren. So you can see there when it is listening to a bird, there's a little blue dot that pops up to let you know it's listening and thinking about what type of bird it is. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this now. And what you can see here is the recording. You can click play and listen to it. You can click on the bird actually. If you have a big list and you've been recording for a while, you can actually click on the bird and it will show at what point in the recording it heard it. And of course, as always, you can click on the bird itself to get a little bit more information about it. So what you can do now is either save the recording or you can just hit the little X button at the top. For now, I'm going to hit X. And so any of the ones that you save, you can actually come down to the sound ID sessions at the bottom, click on that. And it'll give you a list of all the sound sessions that you've saved. So I'm going to click on one here for an example. And you see it was a pretty active day at my house. If I wanted to go back a second, if I wanted to delete any of these, you just slide to the left and it will delete the session for you. So the sound ID is really great. It's especially nice, if you just open your window in the morning, set it on your windowsill and hit play for like 5-10 minutes. You'll see a lot of variety in your yard at certain times of year. So there are a lot of other cool tools though in Merlin. One of them is this photo. And what it does is it takes a photo that you've taken either on your phone in the moment or that you've uploaded, and it helps you identify the bird if you're not sure what it is. So I'm going to click on that. Typically, I don't take a photo in the moment. I have my own camera and I like to just upload, and then if I'm having trouble with an identification, I might choose photo here. And then it'll pop up with your photos in your phone. Grab one of the bird photos you have that you want to ID. Go ahead and hit next. You want to make sure you confirm the location and date, because that's super important when it comes to identifying the birds. So it knows roughly where you're at and when you're at. So for location, you can choose your current location if that's accessible on your phone. You can choose a location on the map, or you can just go ahead and type in the city or the zip code that you're looking at. And then just go ahead and choose the date that matches when the photo was taken and hit identify. So in this case, it was a really clear picture of a nuthatch, a red-breasted nuthatch, and that is correct. If Merlin is unsure though, it will give you a list of options, and you'll have to kind of scroll through and look and see which one makes the most sense for your picture and your location and time of year. Once you're feeling fairly confident, you can choose "This is my bird," and it'll add that sighting to your list. Now, there are two kind of ways to do this. You can go to eBird with it, or you can save it to Merlin. I usually just save to Merlin, so I can keep it on my Merlin life list. But there are lists in eBird as well, and they do connect through. So I'm going to go through that in a different video. So in this case, this one's my bird, so I would have chosen "This is my bird," and it would have been added to my list. So next up, you can also use step by step. In this case, it's really when you have no idea what the bird was. You didn't get a picture, you have no clue. You just have some vague notion of kind of what it looks like and how big it is, right? So first and foremost, you want to choose your location. You want to choose your date, and then it lets you choose the size of the bird. So anywhere from a sparrow size all the way up to a goose or larger. So in this case, I'm gonna choose between a robin and a crow. And then it lets you choose up to 3 main colors that were on that bird that you may have noticed. Try to be as accurate as possible, but just do your best. I'm gonna choose blue, gray, and white. And then it asks you what that bird was doing when you saw it. In this case, I'm gonna say eating at a feeder. And then wait for a moment for it to create a list of possible birds. And so in this case, I was going for a blue jay, so it was correct. That was the first choice that it gave me here. But it also gives a couple other possible options too, a couple hawks here. Not sure where it's getting the European starling, but sometimes it can be a bit wonky. So it'll give you a list and you can decide whether or not it was the bird that you saw. So it's just another way to help you ID birds. All right, so now we're going to move forward into the next kind of tab there at the bottom. And we'll go to Explore Birds. I really love this one in particular because it lets you just scroll through and see all the different birds that are possible and likely in your area at that point in time. So you can see it gives a wide variety here. A couple things to note. Each bird has a bar chart with it, and the bar chart is larger bars for a higher likelihood and smaller bars or none at all for less likelihood. And so the top of the list is the most likely, the bottom of the list is the least likely. Now right now I have this set for my location and date, but what you can do if you click on those 3 lines at the top right, you can choose. There's a lot of options here. Really just worry about the location and the date. So you can choose any location. So let's say you're going on vacation or you're going out of state and you want to see what birds you might encounter. So I'm going to choose a totally different location from where I'm at right now. And then let's say you're going next month instead. So I'm going to flip it forward a month on the date and time. And then you can show the birds. And it readjusts your list to reflect what would be likely or possible in that area and that date. So you can get an idea of what you might see. And so same thing, you just scroll through and you can take a closer look. I want to note a couple of symbols that you'll see here. You see little blue check marks for most of these birds. Those are ones that you already have on your life list. So you can see I have a lot on my life list. If you keep scrolling, eventually you'll come down to some of the more uncommon birds. And so those little orange half circles there, they're telling you that the bird is uncommon to either the time of year or to the area. And if you continue scrolling, you'll see red circles next to some of the birds, and these are telling you that they're rare for this area or time of year. Okay, last but not least at all is your life list. So this is where you keep track of all the birds that you've ever seen, and each time you log a bird, or you say this is my bird on the app, it automatically will appear here. And it also links it to eBird, which, like I said, I'm going to go over that in a different video. So as you can see here, I was quite busy last winter and got several new lifers. But on this, you can scroll down, you can view your entire life list, keep track of how many, and as always, you can click on the bird itself and get more information about it. All right, so that is the Merlin app in a nutshell. Next up, I'm going to go through that eBird app, talk about how it connects to the Merlin one, and how you can use that one. Enjoy!